السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أصحاب السعادة، أعضاء مجلس أمناء مركز باحثي الإمارات للبحوث والدراسات، السيدات والسادة، الضيوف الكرام، أهلا وسهلا بكم في اليوم الختامي للمؤتمر الدولي الثالث لحوار الحضارات والتسامح 2026. على مدى 3 أيام احتضنت العاصمة الحبيبة أبو ظبي نخبة من المفكرين والأكاديميين والخبراء وصناع القرار من مختلف أنحاء العالم في حوار بناء تناول قضايا تمس الأسرة والمجتمع ومستقبل الأجيال القادمة، وتحت شعار تأثير الإعلام الجديد والذكاء الاصطناعي على الأسرة والمجتمع. شكل المؤتمر منصة عالمية لتبادل الأفكار وتعزيز قيم الحوار والتسامح والتعايش. واليوم نصل إلى المحطة الختامية لهذه الرحلة المعرفية، مستلهمين ما طرح من رؤى وأفكار، ومتطلعين إلى مستقبل أفضل لكل الشعوب والثقافات. السيدات والسادة، نستهل فعاليات اليوم الختامي بالكلمات الرئيسية بكلمة مسجدة لإلدر ديفيد بيدنر، عضو مجلس الرسل 12 كنيسة اليسوع المسيح لقديسي الأيام الأخيرة.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, and dear friends, a little over a year ago, I spoke at the Second International Dialogue of Civilizations and Tolerance Conference in Abu Dhabi, and I have been blessed to return to the UAE several more times since then. I regret I am unable to attend the conference with you today in person, but I am grateful for the technology that allows me to share this message with you. This conference is focused on advancing the use of modern technologies and also on raising awareness of the risks and challenges associated with them, especially in the context of the family. 2026 is the United Arab Emirates Year of the Family, an important and timely initiative by the leadership of the country. We are blessed to live in remarkable times. While there certainly are many challenges and much turmoil, we can also see good all around us. The miraculous progress of the last 200 years allows us to live longer, travel faster, and communicate more effectively and quickly. And this progress is only accelerating. As we consider the innovations and changes unfolding in front of our eyes, 2 questions can help us reflect on using technology to support strong families. 1. Does the use of various technologies and media in our lives help to make us better people and strengthen our families? 2. Does the time we spend using technologies and media enlarge or restrict our capacity to live, love, and serve others in meaningful ways? In marriage and family life, we learn and grow together. In our families, we cannot hide from who we really are and what we really are like. A family can be compared to a mirror that helps us become aware of imperfection and flaws we may not be able or want to acknowledge. No one knows us better than those closest to us. This is why a family is the best place to teach our children and to be role models of how to use appropriately modern technological advancements and how to become who we and they really need to become. I strongly believe in the principle of individual moral agency, the capacity and power to choose and to act for ourselves in ways that are good, honest, virtuous, and honorable. One of the fundamental purposes of our agency is to love one another and to make the world a better place. It is not to do whatever we want whenever we will, but to act in accordance with what is right and just. As we approach new media and AI, we always need to be cautious of being captured by negative or addictive influences which could affect the use of our moral agency. We should not be naive and place too much trust in any and all applications of AI technology, despite how tempting they might be. Rather, we can and must learn to be wise and to protect our distinctive capacities and abilities as human beings. I hope all of you, as policymakers and experts in various fields, share the view that our goal in interacting with technologies is not merely producing or presenting impressive content or detailed analysis. Rather, it is about becoming a cohesive and resilient generation and community. To achieve success in their lives, our children and youth will need to be true to their identity and focused on remembering who they are. Technology can support these efforts, but should not in any way distract from or become a substitute for our individual and collective efforts to support young people as future leaders. I repeat again, I believe we live in a remarkable season. I'm grateful to interact with and learn from so many of you who live and work in the United Arab Emirates. Observing the accomplishments and recognizing the bright future this country has are indeed impressive. As we now leave this conference, I hope we each will commit to do a little better in supporting families, children, and youth in their desire to discover for themselves who they really are, and to develop their moral agency in a way that will strengthen their lives forever. I pray we unitedly will pursue these noble objectives and not be distracted from the true purpose of our lives and our love for one another. I thank you for your attention.
حضورنا الكريم، بعد هذه الكلمة الرئيسية في اليوم الثالث والختامي من هذا المؤتمر الدولي، نصل الآن إلى جائزة أفضل بحث علمي لهذا العام ضمن المؤتمر الدولي الثالث لحوار الحضارات والتسامح. والجائزة لهذا العام كانت من نصيب سعادة أليساندرو بيرتولدي. ألف ألف مبروك. Congratulations. أما الآن فنبدأ الجلسة الحوارية الافتتاحية لهذا اليوم. جلسة قيمة ومهمة جدا. الطريق إلى الأمام، ميثاق عالمي للتعايش في عصر الذكاء الاصطناعي. وتتناول هذه الجلسة عددا من القضايا المرتبطة بمستقبل الحوار والتعايش في عالم يشهد تطورات متسارعة في مجال الذكاء الاصطناعي. وتدير الجلسة الأستاذة هدى رفيعة. Please welcome our session chair, Mrs. Huda Rafeil.
Good morning, our dear guests. Thank you. Thank you. It's so good to be with all of you. This has been an amazing 3 days. We've learned so much from each other. And today, our closing panel, I'm very honored to be hosting the closing panel. Over the past 3 days, we have explored many of opportunities and challenges shaping our world. As we conclude the conference, this session will focus on how technology, media, education, families, and international cooperation can contribute to coexistence in the age of artificial intelligence. I'm delighted to welcome our distinguished panelist, Ms. Xi Liang. Please come join us on the panel. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Samir Gisa. Dr. Brian Willoughby. And Dr. Abraham Weber. Thank you all for joining me here. Actually, we are going to start our discussion by, if you don't mind, each one of you to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves, and then we'll start having this family conversation.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. My name is Xi. I came to Dubai about a year ago. I head over AI at Mashrak. It's a pleasure to be here. There was one question from my friends yesterday. So she asked, what do you regret after you came here? I said, well, I regret I should have come earlier.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Samir Gaisa. I came here in 1977. I'm a telecom executive. I've spent the last over 30 years building mobile fixed networks across the world, and half of that working with data and AI. So it's a pleasure and an honor to be here today.
Pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Brian Willoughby. I'm a professor and associate director of the School of Family Life at Brigham Young University. And I also just want to express my deep gratitude for being here. This is my first time in the UAE, and I have been so struck by how kind and generous everyone that I've met here is. So I'm very honored to be here.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Avi Weber, and I'm an adjunct professor at Yeshiva University in New York and also in Israel and in Germany, and I deal mainly in issues relating to policy and law relating to regulations of AI. And I'll join everyone's thank you for the host and the ability to come and visit, especially in these special times, the UAE. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Xi. Thank you. So we know we'll have this discussion, and I'll ask my questions, and would love to get your reflection also about the answers of all the panelists here, and we'll do like a family table here. So I would like to start with you, Ms. Xi. And I'm very appreciative for you being here, and thank you for coming. My question, since this is your field, is artificial intelligence, and we are all learning, right? So we're going to learn from you today. How are artificial intelligence and digital media reshaping the future of societies and human communication? If you could reflect on that question, we would appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I work in banking. I'll talk about the two areas. One is my experience of learning to see how AI has reshaped how bank works in this area, and I also talk about overall what I observe and I learned over the last couple of years when generative AI become more of a mainstream compared to the traditional AI in the past. So in bank overall, as you know, when you interact with bank, you go to our app or you go to another app to understand what's going on. You need to go to bench to process all your queries to get your business done. Now with AI in bank, how we operate in a very different stage, things have become a lot smoother, about easier, because a lot of AI have been used to accelerate the time where the loan get approved, the credit card get approved. Therefore, the service provided to the society become a lot more approachable, and a lot smooth. At the same time, we make sure that we create the trust of using AI in a very responsible way as well. So that's in banking. It certainly creates a lot of opportunity to serve the society better. While outside banking overall, I see a lot of opportunity. Dubai is such a place where we have a lot of nation. We have over 180 nationality work here, study here, and living here. And with AI, the communication between each other, the understanding of the culture, their background, communicate in an efficient, a more compassionate way, become a lot easier and better than before. So AI probably is the best translator and connector in the histories that we can better understand each other. But at the same time, it's very important to understand sometimes AI can be very much biased. It not necessarily reflect, it is trained with the mainstream language where it has access to. Say English where it's trained in the US, Chinese when the model is trained in China. Then when we actually use AI, we need to be mindful about what it understands, what other bias it can bring to us as well. So I would say opportunity is there, the challenge is there as well. Especially the communication in the past where it started with a letter and then you have internet and now you have AI generate a huge amount of content. Some of them you don't know whether it's AI generate, is it fake. So for society, those are all the areas that we need to be mindful of. It's not only is a technology discussion, it's also the government, it's also the individual business team, and how we all work together, and universities as well, how we can all work collectively together to advance AI and also use AI in a responsible way to bring all the benefit to the society and be very mindful the consequence of what could go wrong when we're not careful about using AI.
Fantastic. Really, thank you so much for reflecting on that question. And you know, it's amazing and very helpful AI in all the banking system we do, and you know, all our interaction now. And it's very interesting. You're talking also about the bias of AI and technology. And with that, actually, we will move to Mr. Samargisa, and I would like to ask you, since we talked about bias and their effect. So, what role does digital media play in strengthening social awareness and building more connected and stable communities? We would love to hear your opinion about that.
That's a great question. The digital media obviously is a means of communication, but I think one of the key important aspects is, again, back to what banking with you here mentioned on trust. What do you trust and what don't you trust? So to establish trust, there are multiple factors. First, transparency, dialogue, shared values. I think all of that needs to be very clarified in digital media in order to really trust the information. I'm a father of 5 kids, and I preach to them, don't believe everything you read, because it's so much easier now using technology to be able to give the wrong message. And what are the set of values on the platforms that you're using that are being promoted? So it's very important, and I think the UAE has done a great job in trying to, in the most recent events, be able to inform the public about follow information that is transmitted, that is very clear and trusted, because there is transparency in communication, regular. Everybody who has lived here through the last events understands what it means to get a notice, to trust the information that is happening and to follow instructions. It became very clear there are external factors we all have to worry about. Now, once you establish trust, then it's easy. And then you establish this dialogue and common understanding. I think all of this is based on connectivity. And of course, I work for a connectivity company, I built networks in the past. I think that is common to us. The challenge is not a technology challenge. The challenge is one of enforcing dialogue, enforcing transparency so that we can establish trust, and those digital media aspects that are trustworthy are the ones that we encourage everyone to consume. and not anything else that we don't have control over its bias.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for, reflecting on the question. And I've been taking notes about, what's really we need to really look at is, value, honesty, and trust. So with that question, I go to Dr. Brian Willoughby we're talking about trust here, right? So my question to you, again, is, family, we trust in our family, right? We open our eyes to our family, and that's the way we trusted life. So my question to you is, how can technology support families in addressing the challenges of digital age?
Yeah, I think that's a really key question, because families are so vital to each one of us. And at the same time, we know that families are struggling in today's modern world. We see, in my field, dating rates and marriage rates around the world have been declining. We see dropping fertility rates around the world. We see all these indicators that families are struggling, and particularly when it comes to our children and our youth, they're struggling to maintain a family-centric mindset. And for many of them, that is tied to technology and digital media. A lot of the digital media that they are consuming is reinforcing a focus on individualism. It's focused on what I call an on-demand culture. Our youth are used to, through their digital media consumption, getting anything they want at any time, whether it's food that I order on an app, whether it's a movie that I watch, and I can get it instantaneously. Any information I want to ask about, I get something, whether I trust it or not, I get the answer. And that on-demand culture then carries over when it comes to their family relationships. They want family relationships to be instantaneous and individualized, and we know families are not. As Elder Bednar just reminded us, our families see us for who we really are. They're the mirror that gets held up to us, and that benefits us. Our family relationships where we struggle together, where we challenge each other, that gets at the roots of the human experience. It's why family life is associated with so many positive outcomes across the world in social science research, because those challenges make us better people. And we need to make sure that our youth in the digital media and AI is helping facilitate an image of family and supporting families so that they have that. And I think we can. I think one of the great things about this conference is we've talked about the risks of AI, of digital media, but we've also talked about practical solutions. We've talked about the way that AI and digital tools can help reinforce families. Just two quick examples. We know that youth and children benefit from extended family relationships. They benefit from intergenerational relationships. It's the stories we tell, the connections we make with our parents and our grandparents that reinforce cultural, religious family values. And I think AI tools and digital tools can reinforce that. They can help children connect with their elders across great distances, across the world. It can allow grandparents to share stories and cultural and family traditions with their children if we create the AI tools and the platforms in the digital space that facilitate that. Another great example is family rituals. One of the things that my research shows is that our family traditions are one of the most powerful things for children when it comes to their healthy development. These things that we do in our families over and over again that create a sense of family identity. And again, AI tools can be used to help families brainstorm new family traditions and rituals. They can be used to connect adult children to their parents when sometimes rituals are more difficult. And so there's all these opportunities we have to use these digital tools to reinforce the core of family life in a day and age when that's such a struggle for so many of our youth. Another thought I had as I'm reflecting at the end of this conference is a theme I heard across many of the keynote talks and across several of the panels is the idea of roots, and how as we utilize technology and utilize AI tools, we have to be rooted to something. And I think many of us in this room would say we have to be rooted to the family. We have to be rooted to our religious and cultural identity. If we are rooted in those things and thinking about how we can innovate and utilize digital technology from that base, then we're not swaying to and fro and being acted upon. I think that ties into, again, what Elder Bednar was talking about when he talked about moral agency. In fact, I wanted to share just another quick quote from Elder Bednar in another talk he gave on this topic. He said, "Because AI is cloaked in the credibility and promise of scientific progress, we might naively be seduced into surrendering our precious moral agency to a technology. By doing so, we may gradually be transformed from agents who are acted onto who can act into objects that are only acted upon. And I think that's a core when it comes to how do we support families. We have to be rooted in these core values and then help families continue to root their children in these core values.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for really, refocusing us on families and their role in our society, in our children, in our next generation. And it's interesting because yesterday one of the panels I was listening to talked about how here in the Emirates, his father actually make the grandchildren come on Friday to the house of the grandfather without technology. So there will be storytelling and really establishing and building, and that's what you're telling us. It's really family is the core, and building those roots and establishing it really strong in the children is so important. And without questions and knowing the importance of the family, we are going to go to Dr. Abraham Weber, and we want to ask how, outside the family, what is the role of education and media institution in developing responsible digital content that serves society? So, we have the family here, we are building with it, and how we can go outside the family and continue the building.
Thank you very much for this very interesting question that touches on something, in my eyes, a little bit broader. We've been experiencing in the last 3 days here a lot of discussions about AI, but many of these discussions have been in the third form and somehow estranged and distant. AI is there. That's no question. I think for most panelists, it's something that they've recognized 10, 15 years ago. But for most of us, it's something that we've recognized in the last 2 years. They've been active in our lives now for 15 years, I would say, very openly. And I'm assuming that a few years back, it was used by other means of governing that we're not aware of. So the main focus of the discussion should be how do we deal with these issues? And coming back to your questions about education and institutions, I think we shouldn't be scared of AI. I think we're all aware of the potential of AI, good or bad. But that inflicts on a bigger moral question about humanity and where is humanity going. About 80 years ago, we experienced at the end of the Second World War the capabilities of humanity to destroy itself. The atomic bomb that fell in Japan proved to the world that the humans are capable in developing technologies that can annihilate themselves. I don't want to use any other too big of examples, but most of us are aware of the very famous American movie that was starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Terminator, about the future world that the AI machines are going to come back in time and kill humans and so on and so forth. So we basically know what could happen bad, and we can basically know what goes good. The role of education and institutions. I think we should increase transparency. I think we will probably speak about this later in the program or the discussion today, but a remark that was made in the comments, opener introductory comments of today are really important. We should not make our lives too easy. We should recognize our own responsibility. AI is still, I don't know where we're going to be in 10 or 15 years, but still to date, it's not a self-independent, self-standing entity. It feeds or needs the dialogue. And let's be honest, I think she said that in the beginning, it's up to us to regulate and educate these machines. To say that there is this obscure power, AI, somewhere in the skies that we have no control of, is actually caving back or caving down to simplicity and to interests in whether they're economical, political, or so on. So education, I'll split my answer into two. Education, and that's more of the kids, and I would like to touch on some of the remarks that were made before. Our social medias are flooded with information. Some of it is true, some of it is less. And I think education should take one step back, and the most important thing nowadays is to educate the kids and the youth of being critical of information that they receive. Probably in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to see an increase of switch, probably lesser books, lesser physical discussions, less 200 people in a classroom college education. We're going to move very quickly into the online, and we're going to move very quickly into digital content. Transparency, sources, things that we've in the academic world have been doing since the Middle Ages, quoting, checking facts, fact-finding, and so on. These would be the things that we have to do. Now, coming back to institutions, we have to tackle this problem globally, and in that respect, I congratulate the organizers for actually making a very strong point that this is not a local issue. This is not an American issue, this is not a European issue, it's not an Asian issue, it's not a Middle Eastern issue, it's borderless. And therefore, if we don't think internationally about it, we're at the end of the day going to be a victim of the system, because borderless world, which is supported by internet and social medias, introduces the challenges that even if we create a very strong and very conservative and very aggressive educational system or regulatory system, people are going to be exposed for information from outside. One of the neighboring countries here shut down internet services for 60-something days, not without a reason. And so, just trying to finish the answer to your question, I think that we should, A, recognize our role and our leadership role as individuals and humans in this process, yes, and work for better transparency and better to bring things into the light and not to be afraid of the potential of AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for reflecting on that question. And again, it's amazing to be in the UAE. It's amazing to see the fast development that's happening, and it's amazing to see that they are ahead of everything. And one of it is this amazing conference here that brought all these minds to think together and build together. I mean, thanks for the UAE government for hosting such an event, and thanks for the guests for coming. Thanks for Dr. Firas and Fawaz for organizing such an amazing conference. Thank you. So actually, we are going to wrap up with 2 quick questions, and I would like very short sentence answer for these two questions. And since we moved from technology to ethics to family to education and institution, so what I would like to really reflect on, and just in quick answer, how can international cooperation strengthen the development of safer and more sustainable digital environment? And I'll start with you, and then we'll go quickly with all the panelists.
I think...
in few words.
Yes, I'll try to make it very simple. I think that people have too much trust in lawyers and policymakers. AI, and this is on steroids. When it comes to regulating, I think by the time that we'll come with all treaties and all systems to regulate it, we're going to be already at the 2.0 version and so on. I think we should work on non-binding best practices. I think we should model out what's important. Transparency, as I said, values, responsibility. That would be my key recommendation. And hopefully by the next conference in coming years, there's already going to be a draft about these policies going around. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I think when it comes to corporations, the first thing that comes to mind is protecting our youth,
yes,
and protecting minors, as you mentioned. And I think sometimes we innovate for innovation's sake. We don't think about the consequences. I think AI is a great example that 70% of youth in the United States now use AI on a regular basis, and it was mostly developed for productivity.
Yes.
And it has some great benefits for productivity, but at the same time, as an example, my research has shown that about 25% of American youth now utilize AI for romantic companions because they were designed to be friendly
yes, yes,
and conversational,
yes,
and that use has potentially dire consequences
yes,
for their mental health, for the dependency they develop, for their emotional dependency. And I think many corporations weren't thinking about those
yes,
consequences. And so I think, as we've talked about, we have to be thinking holistically.
Yes, I agree.
Thinking through the whole human.
Yes.
when we innovate and we think about technology and think about what is not just the profit I can get, but what is the greater good this technology can bring to the key word that's been said several times this morning is connect.
Yes.
What can it do to connect us? What can
Yes.
it do to strengthen us?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You know, telecom industry, where I come from, actually succeeded very well in collaborating in building standards, 4G, 5G, etc. I think we can take a page out of the playbook by saying, find the common shared values.
Yes.
I think conferences like this are actually a good example. We're not talking about uniformity, we're talking about interoperability.
Correct.
So once we establish the common values, then we establish transparency and build trust. And then that's where the next step is. The next step is to how do we go back and create further collaboration, is we start to put together protocols that influence strategy, influence policy, and get adopted in vertical industry businesses and in private sector. So those rules that we govern ourselves with share the best of what we individually have reached in our own experiments globally.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Common value. Amazing. Yes.
I'll keep it short. We have covered a lot of good contents already. It's hard to produce more. So I would say for industry, we should be producing and use AI in a responsible way. Banking is a very highly regulated industry. So by nature, it demands a lot of policy, guardrail, auditing of how things get implemented and used. So I encourage all the industry and corporation to be prioritizing the policy, the governance, and in parallel, not impacting the adoption of AI as well. So it takes a balanced approach to adopt AI for the common good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very valuable answers, and we are very appreciative. I think we run out of time, right? So I will actually conclude that we've got such amazing contribution from each of our panelists, value, AI regulation, family, communication. It's all really important items to really think about as a society, to bring society together, especially now we are becoming the global world and global family. So thank you all, our panelists, for contributing to this very interesting and very rich conversation, and hope to see you next year in the next conference.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So much.
شكرا لرئيسة الجلسة وللمتحدثين الكرام على هذا الحوار الثري وما تضمنه من أفكار ورؤى قيمة. الآن نبدأ مراسم الحفل الختامي، والآن يسرنا أن ندعو الدكتور فراس حبال عضو مجلس أمناء ورئيس مركز باحثي الإمارات للبحوث والدراسات لإلقاء الكلمة الختامية للمؤتمر، فليتفضل مشكورا.
Good afternoon, everyone. Finally, with a big breath, we're at the final day. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, scholars, scientists, and friends who have traveled from every corner of the earth. Let me start with a quote. By working together, we can address complex challenges and forge a path towards a greater peace and prosperity for the entire world. This quote from His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the UAE. My friends, for 3 days in this hall we have lived those words. I stand before you tonight as a proud man, proud of what we have built, proud of what we have proven, and proud above all of every single person in this room. We gathered at a moment when the world did not make it easy. Across continents, the news have been heavy. There has been conflict where there should have been conversation, suspicion where there should have been trust. There are places tonight where dialogue has fallen silent, where the only language still spoken is the language of division. And yet, here we are, 4,500 of us from different nations, different faiths, different languages, different histories. We did not come here to agree on everything. We came here to listen. We came here to understand. We came here to prove that human beings, when they sit together in good faith, can still build the bridges that politics cannot. I have said it before and will say it tonight with my whole heart. Education. Education is the truest language of dialogue. Science is the most honest tool of peace. But only knowledge can change a mind. A border can divide a map. But a classroom unites a generation. When a scholar in one country shares a discovery with a scholar in another, they are not only trading information, they are trading trust. They are saying, I see you, I respect you, we are building the same future. That's the work we have done here. Not slogan, not speechless, and not speeches alone. Research, evidence, ideas tested, challenged, and shared. The patent, world-changing work of people have believed that understanding is stronger than fear. And so our success this week is not measured in numbers. It's measured in mind opened and in hand joined. So let me say thank you. To our distinguished speakers and researchers, you gave us your brilliance and your honesty. To our partners and our honor guests, you gave us your trust. To the United Arab Emirates, a nation that has made tolerance not a slogan, but a way of life, you gave us a home worthy of this mission. And to my team, the men and women who have worked through the long nights so that this hall could shine, I will never forget what you have given. This was your victory before it was anyone else. My friends, I want to be clear about something tonight. This is not an ending. What we began here does not close the lights go down in this arena. The conversation we started will continue in universities, in laboratories, in schools, and in the quiet meeting between people who once were strangers and now they are partners. Because the truth is, tolerance and dialogue was only ever the beginning. To tolerate one another is good, but we are called to something greater. We are called to recognize one another, to see in every face from every nation the same humanity we carry within ourselves. And that's the journey we will take the next. So tonight, before we say goodbye, I have one final thing to share with you. Something that we have been waiting to reveal. For 3 editions, we have spoken of dialogue, civilization, and tolerance between people. Ladies and gentlemen, with my honor and privilege, I invite you to turn your eyes to the screen and let's see this small video. It's my great honor to announce to the world in 2027, we will gather again in the International Conference of Dialogue and Humanity. From civilizations to humanity, from tolerance to togetherness. This is where we're going, and I want every one of you, every scholar, every nation, every friend in this room to be there with us. Thank you for your minds. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for believing in difficult words that dialogue is still possible. Travel safety to your country, to your home, to your places, to your family. Carry the spirits with you, and we will see you in 2027. Thank you very much.
شكرا الدكتور فراس حبال. إذن كما شاهدنا النسخة المقبلة بإذن الله من المؤتمر الدولي ستكون بعنوان المؤتمر الدولي للحوار والإنسانية. وعندما نتحدث عن الإنسانية والتسامح والتعايش نتذكر إرث المغفور له بإذن الله الشيخ زايد بن سلطان آل نهيان طيب الله ثراه. زايد رمز الإنسانية الذي رسخ قيماً تقوم على احترام الإنسان. زايد نهر العطاء، الرجل الذي آمن بأن الإنسانية لغة تجمع كل البشر. حضورنا الكريم، ندعوكم الآن لمشاهدة فيديو يلخص أبرز محطات المؤتمر خلال الأيام الثلاثة الماضية. 3 أيام كانت حافلة بالنقاشات المثمرة، الأفكار الملهمة، وبلا شك حضوركم الذي أثرى هذا المؤتمر. السيدات والسادة، ننتقل الآن إلى لحظة التكريم تقديراً للجهود التي ساهمت في نجاح هذا المؤتمر، وندعو مجلس أمناء مركز باحثي الإمارات للبحوث والدراسات للصعود إلى منصة التكريم لتكريم الشركاء والداعمين لهذا المؤتمر. ونبدأ مع القيادة العامة لشرطة أبو ظبي. إدارة الشرطة المجتمعية، كلنا شرطة. هيئة أبو ظبي للدفاع المدني. عائلة البيت الإبراهيمي. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. AGC Center. جامعة محمد بن زايد للعلوم الإنسانية. جمعية الإمارات لحقوق الإنسان، هيئة زايد لأصحاب الهمم، ميلتون فريدوم انستيتيوت، ويستلمها سعادة إليساندرو بيرتولدي المؤسس ومدير مجموعة AB ومعهد فريدمان. BYU، هيئة الفجيرة للثقافة والإعلام، مكتب الشؤون العامة للبهائيين، جيروسلم انترفيث سنتر، جمعية الإمارات للأزمات والطوارئ، لانا تايم، جمعية الصحفيين الإماراتية، دائرة السياحة والثقافة والإعلام في عجمان، دائرة تنمية المجتمع، مستشفى ريفيتال، B14 للاستشارات وإدارة المنشآت، برنامج تكاتف الاجتماعي التطوعي التابع لمؤسسة الإمارات. فريق أسعد شعب التطوعي. كما نتوجه بالشكر والتقدير إلى الشركات والمؤسسات المشاركة للمؤتمر، وندعو ممثلي الجهات التالية: فندق ومنتجع شاطئ الراحة، سبيس 42 أرينا، جاست ميديا، ختاما نتوجه بخالص الشكر والتقدير لكل من ساهم في نجاح هذا المؤتمر من شركاء وداعمين ومتحدثين ومشاركين ومتطوعين. كما نشكركم على حضوركم ومشاركتكم الفاعلة في هذا الحدث الدولي الذي جسد قيم الحوار والتسامح والتفاهم بين الشعوب والثقافات. شكرا لكم وشكرا لمجلس الأمناء. والآن ندعو الفائزين الذين تسلموا الدروع التذكارية لالتقاط الصور التذكارية. لقطة الختام ومسك الختام في هذا المؤتمر الدولي الذي استمتعنا بكل تفاصيله. شكرا للجميع وبإذن الله نراكم في النسخة المقبلة إن شاء الله.